when you're watching Marty Supreme. This movie, like other Josh Safdie movies, is fast paced. It's high. It's a lot. It's really quick. It's all over the place. You know what I mean? It's an adrenaline rush. It feels like, man, it's just nonstop. It's one thing after another, after another, after another. It's constantly like pushing you against, you know, against what when you're watching it, when you see the film, when you're actually watching what Marty Mauser is doing in the movie, it's initially it feels like okay, we're getting a little bit of a sneak peek into who this guy is. What he's about, and kind of like a really quick overview of like this is who he is. He plays ping pong. He's really good at it, and all this other stuff. And then it slowly devolves into he will lie, he will cheat, he will rob, he will steal, he will take whatever he can to ensure his ego gets boosted up to like such a high level. And the thing about him is that like he believes he's the best, right? Or maybe he is the best, you know what I mean? But that inflated sense of ego, that pride, that feeling of like, hey, I'm the best ping pong player and I want to prove it to everybody. I want to prove it not only to this person or this person. I really want everybody to know. And in the film he goes to London, I believe, and he plays a ping pong match against the I guess the new up and comer Endo, and he's Japanese. And the idea is that he's going to be playing against this guy, and he loses three matches in a row. And he kind of like goes crazy. He throws a tantrum. He's just basically saying to himself, like, I only lost because he was using better equipment. He can't accept the idea or the fact of like, I'm just not as good as him. You know what I mean? Because to him that's not an option. It's not even a calculation that like there's no way I could lose to this guy unless it was because he was using a better paddle, the sponge paddle or whatever you want to call it. It's a new paddle that's like new technology or whatever, and he's using like a standard wooden paddle or whatever. And so he basically goes on a whole thing the rest of the movie to try to prove that like it was the paddle, not me and my ego. I'm still the best. I'm still number one. I'm better than every single other ping pong player. I just need the money to kind of prove it. And he steals from his uncle. He robs from his friends. He'll scam people. He'll place bets, and he'll do all kinds of different things. And then when he fails, when he like makes a mistake, or whenever he he just keeps on squeezing everybody dry, trying to get what he wants. And I think, you know, it's not uncommon. I mean, I don't know why I'm trying to like apply it to like other regular people, but I'm just saying that it's like, you try to get as much as you can, and he's getting as much as he can, instead of rather, I don't know, maybe building up or working at things. You know what I'm saying? It's instead of earning the money to get there, he's just gonna take it from people. He'd rather scam it than actually like, you know what? I'm gonna get a job. I'm gonna make enough money, and then with that money, I'll be able to like go to Japan, compete in the tournament or whatever, be a part of the thing, and then actually compete and whatnot. So throughout the movie, we see him constantly deny being the father to his friend Rachel's son or baby or whatever, daughter. I don't remember what it was at the end, but anyways, the idea being is that like he's constantly chasing his own dreams, his own ego, his own selfish desires, as opposed to taking responsibility or any kind of accountability of like, oh, this is reality. Like, oh, that is my baby inside of your stomach. You know what I mean? That is my baby in your belly, and now I have to actually like become a father. You know what I mean? And he actually tells her this. He's just like, I'm not ready to settle down, and so I'll help you do whatever you need to do to get rid of it, or like we'll put it up for adoption and all this other stuff. And Rachel's kind of like, what on earth are you talking about? Like, this is our child together. And, Rachel's a bit, I mean, not that she's wrong, but, she is a bit desperate for his love and for his attention and his affection, his approval and his, like, love for her. So she kind of goes and does some things that are kind of wild. She fakes having a black eye so that way, that way Marty, like, beats up her husband and then basically, like, I don't know. Anyways, Marty throughout this movie, Marty Mouser, played by Timothy Chalamet, what a great performance. He did a really great job playing this guy. It was every single time you get a close up of him, you can definitely see that the wheels, the Rubik's cube in his head is turning. He's really trying to do everything, and it's happening so quick. It's happening lightning fast. It's happening like right then, right now. How do I get the gears turning? How do I figure out how to fix this whole thing? How can I get this? How can I get that? How can I take from somebody else? What's my best way to like figure out this puzzle? And we eventually see him like come into contact with Gwyneth Paltrow's character, who also was pretty good in the movie. I mean, she did a good job. I didn't mean to be like pretty good. Everybody in this film, all the cast, they did really great in the film. But I'm just saying is that like, he meets the billionaire played by Kevin O'Leary, and then we meet Gwyneth Paltrow's character, and he's having like this affair with her and stuff like that, whatever. And we kind of get this. He's found his target. He's found like what he can leech off of. You know what I'm saying? He's found something that he can like, oh, I can exploit this. I can take this for myself. And I can figure things out through his connections, through his considerable wealth and power and opportunities. Like, I can, you know what I mean? I can take that for myself. And so, when you see him latch onto him, or you see him constantly, like, try to get into contact with him, constantly, like, trying to pull him in, and then also taking his wife, and then he's just taking people for all that they are, whether he's taking, jewelry, or whether he's taking like another man's wife, or he's taking, he's womanizing, or he's taking money, or he's like using his friends for all kinds of different things. You slowly and eventually over time pretty quickly realize like this guy has very, I don't want to say no redeeming qualities. He has very little redeeming qualities. And I say very little because he is capable of, like, working. He's a good salesman, a shoe salesman. He could step up and become a manager, but that would be reality. Ping pong is the dream. Shoe manager, salesman, more responsibilities, an actual job, an actual living. That's the reality of, like, his situation. This is what he could potentially be doing for his whole life. And the dream is the quote unquote American dream that he's like kind of chasing right now. That's what he wants. He wants to be the best ping pong player. He wants fame, he wants the money, he wants the travel, he wants the egotistical thing, which is like, I'm the best in the world and everybody knows it. You know what I'm saying? It's not great, it's really difficult to see him like chase something and then keep on what he has to go through to get there. You know what I mean? Like, going to Japan is an effort, and it's something that other ping pong players do it, but you look at his circumstances and you see like, how does he get there? And one thing leads to another, and he gets spanked by Kevin O'Leary. He gives up all of his dignity just to get on a plane to Japan. And then he goes to Japan, and he abandons Rachel, who's like literally got shot or like is injured, and she has to go into surgery, and then she like has her baby being born and stuff. And Marty Supreme, he's got to get out of there. He's got to go to Japan, chase his chase his dream, go after the thing that he wants, his selfish desires, and leave behind his reality, which is Rachel, his baby, a job, consequences for his actions and stuff like that. He's abandoning all of that. And so eventually, he goes to Japan, and he feels like, well, he thinks he's going to do this exhibition match with Endo again, and then he'll actually get his shot to beat him because he lost to him. He'll actually get a shot to beat him in the World Championships. And then he's talking to one of the officials, and the official is basically like, what are you talking about? Like, you're not getting into the World Championships. Like, things have already been scheduled weeks in advance. Like, you can't just join the tournament. Like, you're out. Like, this isn't happening. Like, sorry, you came all this way for nothing. You're not going to play in the World Championships. And then he slowly starts to realize that, like, everything that he's built up towards is like, this is the moment. He can't, there's no chance for him to get out of this. And so he doesn't have another shot. This is the moment. This is it. This is where he'll actually like get to play. And he plays Endo for real. So after he does like the fake rigged match, which is he loses and then he takes the fall, right? For Kevin O'Leary's character. I forget what it is. He takes the fall, right? He loses 21-14 or whatever it is, whatever the score was. And after that, he's like, all right, like, you know what I mean? Let's move on. But he convinces the audience, like, you guys want to see a real ping pong match, right? Like, that was all fake. That was a fake match. You guys want to see a real match. Don't you? Like, I was not playing accurately. And then Kevin O'Leary's character is kind of, concerned a bit because he's like, listen, this thing that you're chasing after, it's not going to make you happy. Like, I can give you, you can fail upwards with me, is essentially what he's saying. He's like, if you win out there, you're done with me. You're stuck in Japan. I'm not flying you back on the jet. Like, you can't beat this guy. You know what I mean? He's saying that, like, if you beat this man, if you are as good as you say you are and you win per se, it's like that isn't going to that's not going to be, let's just say it's like you're not going to be happy with that, you know what I'm saying? And Marty is just like living in the moment. He's just like, dude, leave me alone. I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm the best and I'm going to prove it right now. And so him and Endo play a close match of a game. Closest match ever in an exhibition in front of all those people, stadium of people. And he wins. He actually beats Endo. And he's like, wow, he did it. And there is a bit of sportsmanship where he shakes his hand and he goes like, hey, that was a great game. I hope you do win the World Championships. It's kind of an empty, hollow victory for him. Like, he won, he beat him, but, it wasn't like I don't know, I guess it wasn't like a huge celebration. He didn't win any money, he doesn't have the fame. It was an exhibition match, and then Endo's going to go to the World Championships and probably win. Beat everybody else there, and this is all just for Marty. Like, all of the winning in Japan, all of the deceit, all of the lies, all of the terrible things that he's done to people and that he's used for his own gain, his own ego, is now over, And then he comes back on the plane and he's not like, we see the soldiers that he flies back to America with. They get hugged and embraced by their families. They're like genuinely like, oh my goodness, like they're praised, they're adored, they're the ones who are, the real, have something real, you know what I mean? And when he lands, it's empty. He walks off the plane, nobody comes to see him. He's not celebrated in any way, shape, or form. He's broke still. He has nothing. And then he goes to the hospital. and there he sees Rachel, and in that moment he's like finally embraces her and tells her his true feelings. He accepts her and her love, and he tells her that he loves her too. And then he goes to see his baby. I forget if it's a boy or a girl or not, but he goes to see his baby, and in throughout the whole movie, we rarely get to see him like still or in one, you know, he's just so fast paced. And then when we finally see him still, when we finally see him taking in what he's like going through, or taking in like this new level of responsibility, this new level of like care for something else other than himself. He sees the baby, and he finally kind of acknowledges that like he's the father. He kind of accepts that like this is his baby, and that now he's grown into, or is going to have to accept responsibility for this thing. He's going to have to finally like, wow, there's something else greater than myself, and it's this child, this baby. And that's the thing. That's the cool thing about, I mean, if you want to look at any kind of silver lining, is that like he did all of that for his own ego, and then by the end of it, it's like he has to let it go to really appreciate and embrace this child. Now, will he actually do it? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, even though he cries over the baby, it's like, who knows what he'll end up doing or what he'll end up becoming. But if nothing else, I feel like for him in his own mind and for his own ego, for his own pride, he knows that he beat the world champion. I think that might be enough for him. And he might be able to let it go to know that, like, I beat him, and even if he goes on to win the world championships, I still beat him. He's still lost to me. He's still not the best. I'm the best. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe he can finally let that go and finally embrace the like, all right, I'm a shoe salesman now. I can sell anything. I can sell anything to anyone, I'm a fast talker. I'm a smart person. I can own a shoe store, and I can make a living and have a business and take care of Rachel and the baby and my mom and all these other different things. He can finally do things legit and grow up. You know what I'm saying? He can finally stop chasing this dream or this sort of fantasy, and finally just accept that like this is what I've done to get somewhere, and even though I got it, it's not the same feeling as like seeing his newborn baby. You know what I'm saying? And I think when you see Marty like finally beat Endo, there's this relief, there's this sigh of like just high, like a satisfaction of like, and it's a temporary one, right? It doesn't last very long. He wins, but then it's hours on the plane in silence. It's hours back, it's days, it's, moments where it's like he had to do so much wrong to get one moment of right. And then in an instant, it's over and he has nothing. And then when he gets back, it's like, there's something here for me. I do have something. And that's the moment of growth. That's the moment of like, finally, this is what is real. This is a fact. This is a guarantee of like, of something that's going to be greater than me. Nobody's as great as Marty Supreme. Nobody's as great as Marty Mauser. Nobody's better than him, right? There is no ping pong player out there that's better than him. There's no other man that's better than him or whatever. There's nobody, right? He's the best. And then when he looks at that baby, it's almost as if it's like it all comes crumbling down around him, and it's that like, this is the best thing. This is better than me. And this is something that I can feel attachment for and love. You know what I'm saying? And Rachel, of course, obviously Rachel, but just like, you know what I'm saying? There's there's this feeling of like, what a great moment to finally embrace and feel something, you know? We see him get like angry, bitter, we see him like scam and scheme, and we see all of that, but we don't really see him feel full on emotions per se. And there are tidbits of his caring side. He's not just heartless. Well, I mean, you could make the argument he is, but there are tidbits of him like genuinely having compassion and caring for people. Like when Rachel said she got punched in the face, or she got like hurt and abused by her husband, right? Like he was able to show or express his like anger for it. And when he's like yelling at Rachel, being like, that kid is not mine, it's Ira's, you know what I mean? And there's a moment where she kind of like has a frowny face and she starts crying, and he like consoles her. She's like, I'm sorry. But it's fleeting, right? It's not a full on, let me sit down in this feeling. It's a, I'm gonna feel this and then I move on. You know what I mean? To get what I want, to do what's best for me here. And then it's constantly about himself. And finally, until he sees that baby, he realizes that it's about something better than me, and it's this baby. And that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. And I don't know. Would I say that Marty Supreme? I mean, I liked the movie. I thought Marty Supreme was really. I mean, it's so fast paced, and immediately you're in it. You know what I mean? Immediately you're kind of like brought into him, and you see what he's doing and how he's living and acting and stuff. And Timothée Chalamet does a great performance, gives a great performance. Same with all the other cast members. Tyler, the Creator, was also really good. I mean, just everything just worked for me for this movie. Now, does it make it perfect? I mean, this is just kind of like Josh Safdie's style, this kind of like dramatic, fast-paced, flawed man or character or whatever. And I think that having that flaw, having you stay with the character who is so wrong, having stay with the character that's like so egotistical or does the wrong thing, it kind of feels a bit like, why it plays with you. It makes you feel like, what is going on? Like, why do I kind of like root for this guy when he's so clearly like not good for everybody around him? And I think the feeling is just kind of like, he's just the protagonist. He's just the main character of the story. And we get to see things happen because of him, through him, and all this other stuff, until eventually we come to like try to find any good qualities about him, and realize and maybe analyze and process that, like, would I be willing to do the same thing for something that I love or something that I think is so great? And that's the thing, that's the question really at the end of it all, is would you be willing to scam, to scheme, to lie, to rob, to steal, to deny, and not take responsibility or anything, just for your desires, just for your ego? And some people might say yes, other people might say no. But what are you willing to do? Right? What are you willing to do? And so by the end of this movie, if you can't see that, like, how long he's just constantly denying the real and only looking at the goal, the wants, the desires, then eventually you're gonna maybe neglect them in your own life or something. I don't know. All I'm trying to say is that this movie was fast paced. It was just pure adrenaline, and I liked it. I enjoy Josh Safdie's style with these kinds of things. They make for good, fast paced. Drama, and that's something that I myself enjoy. It's the same thing with like Good Times. It's the same thing with Uncut Gems. I enjoy seeing that kind of like fast pacedness of certain things. The flawed aspects of people, but it's not to everybody. It's not everybody's cup of tea. It's not perfect. You know what I'm saying? But I enjoyed the movie, and I thought that everybody did a great job on it. So, anyways, long story short, when you're watching Marty Supreme, when you see the full thing, when you finish watching it, you just have to contemplate or think to yourself like, was it all worth it to get that moment, to go to Japan and to win? Was it worth it? Or do you think that it was necessary for him to have that moment, right? Was it necessary to get to that moment, to finally be able to like let things go, and then to come back and actually like embrace what's real? You know? Because who knows? Who knows? But that doesn't mean that Marty is off the hook either. He's going to have to face some consequences. He's going to have to step up and face responsibilities. He's going to have to actually like grow up if he wants to make a life for his family now, you know? But I think if there's one thing you know about Marty in the movie is that he's capable. We just don't know if he's capable of that true change. To be a good man, husband or father or son, friend. We don't know. But there is like kind of that hope that maybe yes, maybe there is. So, anyways, when you're watching Marty Supreme, get ready for a fast-paced roller coaster with ups and downs, and you don't even particularly enjoy the person you're sitting next to. And by the person that's sitting next to you, I mean like the main character, Marty Supreme. You don't really know if you care about this guy or even want to like this guy, but by the end of it, you can maybe think to yourself like, was it worth it, and was it necessary? And everybody's answer is going to be different, but anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.